Hey, welcome back to another book review. Hopefully that these are helping. It's kind of fun to do this because it kind of shares what I read. But the book that I have for you is called Fuse. Just Fuse. And it's Making Sense of the New Co-Generational Workplace. And it's by Jim Finkelstein. And it's not a very lengthy book. It's probably about 196 pages. Not too bad, but it's called Fuse. And this says that the more you know, the more effective you become. So it talks about like the cooperation between baby boomers and millennials and kind of the next generation after that. And so to kind of bring you back what a baby boomer is, after World War II, which ended in 1945, we had the two bombs dropped on Japan, and then that ended the war. And then after World War II, we had people come back, men came back, and they worked, and they went to colleges, universities, skyrocketed in people. The space race happened, but we had people that were producing. I mean, people were mating, I guess, and then it's become to all these childbirths. The population increased. Bottom line, so we got the baby boomers. So they're between World War II and kind of where about 1980, and then now you have the millennials, which is about the generation 84 to 2000, something like that. It's a big range. Anyway, so it talks about like the cooperation of the transition of jobs and how baby boomers and millennials are kind of like kind of interwoven in the job market now. So Jim talks about like the lack of maturity and experiences. So sometimes millennials, I'm a millennial, I guess. I'm an older millennial if you think about that. You kind of have to kind of have your mindset about the way jobs are today to different than what they had jobs back then. It's the maturity and experience. It's also the history too. So he talks about Fuse is about the mesh up and combination of the experiences, command, and literally of the boomers and the techno smart perspectives. So it's talking about like the mesh up and the combination of the different kind of technological advances and the work ethic and the certain praise and incentives that and the behaviors and the mindset that we have today. So you have to have transferable experiences. So that means that baby boomers, they have their kind of like their mindset, back when they worked. They worked a little bit different. They were earning a lot more differently than people today. The minimum wage wasn't severely as much, and the cost of living were a little bit less. But it's the transferable of skills and experiences that goes from one generation to the other. So baby boomers should be helping out millennials should be helping out the other generations now. And this entitlement, it's kind of like this entitlement of, okay, you work this many hours, you get this then. That entitlement was kind of learned now. Baby boomers weren't expecting that. But we're going to go into that. So it was kind of like the self-esteem movement. So the feel good, hey, I have a job that I'm getting value. And now it's kind of like I'm getting income. Okay, great. I'm not getting any praise. So they have a dissatisfaction in the job. These kind of like what millennials are doing and other generations. They're not feeling entitled anymore. They're not getting kind of what they expect in jobs. So you have this, dissatisfaction. Baby boomers, methodically learn that facts that they would need to pass the test. Millennials learn that through constant connection, multitasking, co-creation, and shared experiences. So what Jim's trying to say in the book here is that boomers had to kind of like pass a test back then. Today we kind of don't really have that. here's what I mean. I think this is kind of what he was saying is that we have millennials, and now we kind of have to learn to multitask a little bit. There's so many things going on. Baby boomers really had, here's one shot, and that one shot is. So, get that one job done, one shot at it. They didn't have really a lot of technological advances that they had to go and research. They can just go to a manual, read about it, and put it on. And it was very laser focused. Rather than today, we have so many just distractions. So I kind of think that's what Jim had to say in his book. And so what millennials don't understand in the workplace is that they have to construct constraints in culture. It's all about the generational gaps and the interpret communication. It's very hard to communicate, I guess, today. And sometimes they don't know how to. They were never taught to communicate. And that's very hard today, is that sometimes we're kind of shy because we don't want to look down upon if we say something. Baby boomers grow up without technology. They didn't have too much advanced technology. I mean, computers were coming around, the IBM, the Macintoshes. They pretty much, they saw it being invented. And they taught that if you want something, you need to work hard and you need to sell yourself for it. Now, sell yourself doesn't mean that you have to sell your skills. You have to work hard. It takes time to put a Lego together. So you buy a packet of Legos, and it takes a lot of time to put it together. Well, today we kind of have computers to really aid us into that, and so I guess the work ethic is a little bit different than what baby boomers appear to have them, because they didn't really have all that technological advanced equipment. So millennials want an emotional connection to their employee and their work and their colleagues. So it's kind of like today, we kind of always want some connection to our bosses, to our managers, our CEO. And it takes a lot of time and initiative to do that. Back then, baby boomers kind of had, I didn't have all that technology. I didn't have dating apps to get me. I had to go out and find a date. And so it was a little different mindset back then. So Jim, in this, he says that there's some things that they have to look for, these motivators, when you're seeking out a job or you're kind of working in a job and you have to cohabitate, or not cohabitate, not live with, but in a way that you kind of have to work with. And so there's a couple lists here. So here we go. Money and benefits. Money and benefits are always a perk for every job that you do. It was, baby boomers, they had like an annual an annual inspection. They would get like 2 or 3% raises. Today we kind of get that a little bit, but I don't think too much anymore, because we have a lot of advancements. So it's a little harder to kind of maybe get raises. I think that's what he was trying to say in the book. The next thing was work and life balances. We have to have career opportunities. Millennials love to have career opportunities. I mean, if I don't like something, could I build a skill and go on to something else? Is there educational behind it? Is there social and spiritual behind my work life and my real life balances? And so millennials kind of want that now in their job. They kind of want that. Is this job going to make me become better? Am I going to get education or educated in this in the field? So if you hire me with no experience at this job, and I take all the experiences, all the training, technically what a job is sometimes worried about is that if they're going to train you and have all this, they're worried that you're going to go off and make something else. You're going to leave them. They're going to take all your training. They're going to take all their training that they taught you in that job, and then you're going to leave. Sometimes jobs worry about that. Next thing is called interesting work. Does your work mean something to them? Baby boomers just like, I go home, I pay the bills, I take care of my family. That's all I ask. My job gives me that satisfaction. Today we kind of hit or miss that. Maybe you're not married, you don't have kids, so you're working at a job that you like, and then you get bored of it. And then he says, well, I've been working here for 18 months. I haven't really got promoted. I haven't really got anything going in this job. So what's going on? It just takes time, I think. And they worry about it doesn't mean to. And then the next thing is called social causes. So social is that are you giving something back to the community? Are you being more open to people? Baby boomers back then, they worked at a job, but maybe they were just so focused on one job that they didn't have a lot of people to talk to. And then maybe they had a break. They went in the break room for 30 minutes, and then they had the same amount of people sit around to talk to. Millennials, in today's generation, we kind of want to have all the connections. And sometimes we don't. It's really depends on the person. But you have to respect communication. We want respect. Millennials or any generation, really, you want respect and you want appreciation for what you're doing. And I think that's what you want, a pat on the back. You want to be appreciated what you're doing. You want to be recommended, I guess, or say some good stuff. So you want to look for the reward. And the reward is, you know what? Okay, you did so good on this job, you get a raise. Or you did so good on this job, you get a gift certificate. That incentive to keep you still going in that job. And baby boomers were kind of like that. He was saying in the book, he says that baby boomers were kind of we're at a job and then that was it. They go home. They weren't looking for that incentive. So some of the mindset has changed a little bit. Flexible schedule is the next thing out of these motivators for jobs. Having a flexible schedule is good. I mean, maybe you work and you go to school and you go to Starbucks and they offer you. I know Starbucks gives you like a flexible job, flexible hours, and they pay for school sometimes. I think they have that program going, and that's great. I used to do that too. I worked at retail, and they used to. I was part-time. You get a little bit more leeway with part-time, I do believe. But they gave me the hours that I needed to because I had to go to work or go to school and then work. And that flexible schedule is really good for your balance. The other motivator is that, mentors and managers, you have to grow. You want to make money, and so if you can work with somebody that's at the company for so long and be their mentor or have them as a mentor, they can teach you about the company, and that's what millennials and the younger generation wants you to have happen. You want to get to know somebody so they can teach you the ropes. Sometimes baby boomers don't want to do that because they say, I had to learn this all by myself. Too bad for you. That kind of is a very subjective as well, very mean, but it is true in a way. But we all have to help each other. And then another motivator is there continual learning. So there's a difference between soft skills and hard skills. So soft skills are the interactions with people, saying hello, thank you, and how you progress throughout the day. Then there's hard skills. Hard skills is like the mechanical, the technical jargon. Those are very hard to decipher. And then there are two different ones. It's like a computer work. If it has something that has software and hardware, well, hardware is what you can touch. What you can touch. Software is what you have to program. So I think that's what they're kind of talking about is that, there's different kinds of ropes you can go here. Am I going to have more interactions or more technical skills? It's up to them. But what we need, millennials and younger generations, that we need constructive feedback. Feedback and criticism is that we need to tell, hey, are you doing something? Am I doing this right? And without having somebody be offended. And I think that's what you have to make some mistakes. But you can't have somebody on top, a manager who says, well, you made that mistake, so then I'm going to fire you. Or you made this, or why aren't you not making your numbers for this quota? Well, I had this, okay, well, you got to make it or you're going to be fired. No, you have to have a leader or a manager that says, what can we do to help you out? And I think that's the balance of that feedback. You get the good feedback. Money is always a good motivator, and we all need money, but it's the small rewards, the praises, the recognition, and the time off, the incentives besides the money that make the job more valuable for everybody. And sometimes we need that psychological and philosophical needs, that frequencies of check-in and that reward, and sometimes the time off. And that needs to be looked upon as good. You need to money. The millennials, sometimes they go to college and they get out with $40,000 to $60,000 in debt, and then they're expecting, I got this degree, this piece of paper, and they think that, I'm going to get the new job, or I'm going to get that job, and it turns out sometimes they don't always get what they want, and it takes a lot of hard work and time to build up that resume to get that job that you have that particular skill in. And I think that's part of it. There's no accountability on that. There's no like, hey, you got the degree, then hey, you got a job waiting for you. Yes and no. It depends on if you are open for job shadowing. You're actually getting your foot in the door before you graduate, talking to them, so you have that guaranteetion. I think that's what school should teach you too. And I know there's a lot of schools that do internships and stuff like that. And baby boomers didn't really have to do that. I mean, they went to school, but maybe they didn't, and they worked at a factory or something like that, and they didn't have all this debt, and they don't have the experience. And that's kind of like the difference between, the baby boomers versus today's, is that they didn't have all that experience, so they can't give it to us. They don't know how it's like. But they got to pay the bills. I mean, we all pay Social Security and the living cost, and taxes, and state and federal taxes too, and we all pay that. And it's the mentality that we need to be in. We all need to pay bills. I mean, you have to work. Sometimes you have to work hard. But boomers, the salary and the benefits have been only the road to retirement. The baby boomers wanted, they built for retirement. A lot of them are retired right now, and they're running out of money. They're living a lot longer, and they're running out of money. So it's like, well, what am I going to do? Go back to work? So they kind of think about that retirement a little bit differently than that, maybe how we think of it today. But millennials have a different lifestyle than baby boomers. I mean, millennials and younger generations want to go out and travel and do the world, and they don't want to wait till they're 70 years old. So it's a different lifestyle today. They want to buy a cup of coffee every day and go out with friends drinking. A little different environment or a different outcome than it was back 50, 60 years ago. Millennials versus their millennials view of communication. Communication is a big thing for any field you want. And now we have smartphones, we got emails, we got voicemails, electronics versus printed documents. Baby boomers, older generation, I should say, workforce, they didn't have all that stuff. They want something in, they're going to talk to you face to face. If they want to send something out, they're going to print it out and not email it to you. They don't know what email was. And it's funny, as this book says, if they want something done, they will face to face and talk to you rather than call you. It's a little bit more. It's how they were grown up, manners or something like that. So part of baby boomers and millennials and their generation is the language transfer. It's understanding our language and some of our stuff. So, take your time, breathe, relax. And some of us need to understand that. In some jobs, it just takes us some time to relax and understand the different perspectives in their workplace. 9 skills that are most thought of for employees. So these are the 9 skills that Jim talks about that for employees that they look for in employees today. Communication, interpersonal skills, how we're talking to each other. Analytical skills, using your brain to figure out problems, problem solving, thinking outside the box. Flexibility and resistance. Leadership and management skills. 6, respect for others. 7, literacy skills, or sorry, technological literacy, knowing how a computer works and how some technology works. Just make it very vague. Number 8, time management. How do you get? Are you good at time management? Are you good at throwing things around? Are you for putting things in their places, getting stuff done on time? 9 is creative problem solving. Are you, hey, if a problem happens, are you well endowed to take care of it in your own way? And I think that's very good to have. And that comes with self-confidence and self-respect and accountability factor. And that's kind of what managers are looking for in pretty much any job, and especially for today's. So it's that personal accountability, and are you a results orientated person? I want results, and I'm looking for loyalty. A job is looking for positive attitude, looking for energy. A little bit different than what millennials were getting back then. Willingness to learn. There's a nice quote that Jim does. It says, "It's not the hours you put into your work that counts. It's the work you put into the hours." And I really like that quote. So one more time. It is not the hours you put into your work that counts. It's the work you put into the hours. Hours are going to fly by one another. But are you working hard, and is that work meaningful in those hours that you're doing? So it's that environment. And so boredom is a killer. It makes you depressed, and there's no challenges. So I think that I read in a college book a long time ago. I forgot what the college book was. I think it was like about the college's assessments and atmosphere. It was like a 2008 book. I forgot what it was. But it was like the first couple pages. It says the average person spends on a job for 2 years, and then they get bored of that job and they lose interest. So in 2 years at that job, you're losing interest, you're losing energy, you're not growing anymore, and then you want a different job. It's interesting. So it's those 21st century skills: collaboration, you're working together, you're communicating, and you're problem solving. That's really what we're talking about today. A little bit different than what was back 70 or 80 years ago. And then collaboration is a must. You got to work with people, and you might not like the people that you work with, but at least they're people that you have to work with because you got to get the job done, and maybe you become friends. So very interesting book to read. Like I said, it's about 190 some odd pages. It's called Fuse by Jim, and it's making sense of the new cogeneration. So the co is the cooperation of making sense of younger generations in their work environments and their workplaces. A little bit interesting. I found it interesting though. I did. But yeah, it's a good book. I think you pick it up. All right. Well, hopefully that worked, and hope you're a little bit better on work environments and how things are going. All right. See you in the next video.